was 8 when my father and I were walking through a busy marketplace where we passed by a flashy musical instrument shop. The shop was decorated in a way that would make kids like me stop in awe, and that is what exactly happened. I got pulled towards a big clear glass window that had displayed a starry silver chrome toy drum kit that felt like a dream to me. I came back home with stars in my eyes and the image of the drums fixed in my brain. The day had ended, but the image of the shiny drums in the shop did not fade away. Days passed by. When I came back from school one day, what I saw was that same exact toy drum kit in my house. I was so excited and happy to see the drums that I felt as if the biggest dream I ever had was fulfilled. I thanked my father, and I realized in that moment of thankfulness how closely parents sense our dreams and wishes. My father had noticed the sparkle in my eyes that day and had been saving money to get me that toy drum kit. Time passed by. A year later, there was a form that was being circulated in our school, which was to be filled if we were interested in taking part in a state-level drumming competition. I filled the form and chose to take part in that competition. I knew that the challenge ahead of me was not small, as all I had with me was a toy drum kit, which did not produce the sound of a professional drum kit. I also knew that I had no reasonable chance in winning, as my toy drums were about to go head-on with professional drum kits. But I accepted that challenge and just practiced on my toy drums, even though it did not make sense or create good sound. I also prepared a little speech which was supposed to become the prelude to my drumming that day. I dedicated my small performance to the trees, birds, rivers, oceans, and to all the mothers and their sweet lullabies, and even to the heart that teaches all of us the importance of life through rhythm. The day of the competition had come, and I had asked my father to carry my toy drums to the venue, as all drummers were supposed to do so that day. When the organizers saw my toy drums, they did not allow me to take it on stage, as it was half broken and not even considered to be a drum kit, because it literally looked like a toy. It was not eligible in being admitted into the competition. I was almost rejected, but I'm thankful that I was not, as that might have ended a dream before it even discovered its wings. I'm still, to this day, thankful to the organizers of that event, who sensed my passion and asked another participant to share his drums with me when my turn came. The drum kit that I was about to play on was not mine, and I had no idea how it was set up or how it would sound. I went up on the stage when my name was called and stood in one of the corners of the stage. Started with my little speech, which got a huge applause, and then I headed towards a giant professional drum kit, which was on the other corner of the stage. While I was walking towards the drum kit, I was terrified. I was literally shaking. I was so scared because I'd never seen such a huge audience, and it was the first performance of my life. But I accepted all of that and just thought about enjoying the moment and giving my best. I settled myself on the seat, and what I realized was something really interesting. What I realized was that the seat that I was sitting on could rotate 360 degrees. I was sitting facing the audience, and I moved a little towards my left, and suddenly that terrifying visual of a huge audience vanished. All I could see was a wall and the drums. My fear was gone, and it was just like home. I started playing, and those moments were magical. Because obviously that was a professional drum kit that I was performing on, and it totally sounded different. And it was amazing. It created a nice hearing sequence that the audience enjoyed, and it made my raw beats sound different and professional. I looked like a professional, even felt like one myself. Those moments were truly magical. The next day, when I was looking through the newspaper for cartoons, what I saw was a picture of me playing the drums. I got so excited and showed my parents immediately. And that is me playing the drums right there and there as well. And most of the local newspapers had my picture in them. I was so excited. A few days later, we got to know our results for the competition. And I had not only won the competition, I stood first. Plus, I was also recognized as the first girl drummer of the state, which inspired more girls to pick up drums and break stereotypes. And that is me in the black dress in the center. This was a bigger accomplishment for me than anything else, and what still sticks into my mind and heart even today is that not my drums, still I won. But this story is neither about me nor my toy drum kit, but this is about the collective and peaceful future of the world, and this is about dreams. Drums had given me a stage to inspire. Drums had given me a dream. Drums had taught me that passion can move mountains. Hello everyone, I'm Alhana Babbar and I'm from Jammu and Kashmir, which is in the north of India. Let me share an interesting story about this place and how the foundation of the beautiful place, was laid. Once upon a time, there lived a king named Raja Jambulochan during the solar lineage in the 9th century. One day he went for a hunt and passed by a river. And what he saw was a lion and a goat drinking water together, side by side on the banks of that river. He was so astonished to see this, and one of his ministers explained that this meant that the soil was virtuous and no living creature bore violence or conflict against each other. Raja Jambulochan built his capital, Jambupura, on the banks of that river, on that virtuous soil. And the name of that river is the River Tavi. But peace and conflict are not only issues limited to Jammu and Kashmir. Conflict is a challenge that many parts of the world are facing today. Wars of the past were driven by egos, territories, military supremacy, and world domination. The scars created by World War I and World War II have not yet healed, where World War I took about 16 million lives, and World War II took about 70 to 85 million lives. But we also know that next World War, World War III, will be fought on a totally different reason, and its size and scale will also be different. We hear about World War III being fought for water, and we also know that it's slowly turning out to be true. The standoff between India, Pakistan, and China is now coming down to stopping the flows of rivers in a tactic to put pressure. And we also know that when the children of my age will grow up, we will be fighting the biggest wars against humanity, driven by climate change and water crisis. All this is happening faster than we ever imagined. In this, we also recognize the UN SDGs, which are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are a compilation of goals set by the UN, which are to be accomplished by 2030. The idea of the UN SDGs came from the Rio Plus 20 summit in 2012. It is a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. I also remember hearing the speech of Barack Obama, the former president of the United States of America, President Barack Obama, at the United Nations Summit in 2009, which started with these few words: that so many of us are here today is a recognition that the threat from climate change is serious, it is urgent, and it is growing. Our generation's response to this challenge will be judged by history, for if we fail to meet it boldly, swiftly, and together, we risk consigning future generations to an irreversible catastrophe. Tragedy of the Commons is an economic concept explained by William Foster Lloyd in a pamphlet that he published in 1833, explaining an example of overuse of common resources. A century later, Garrett Hardin, an American economist, wrote an article about the same concept, citing William Foster Lloyd's example, in 1968. After Garrett Hardin's article, the concept was known as the tragedy of the commons. To put it simply, tragedy of the commons, okay, let us imagine I'm a shepherd, you're a shepherd, and there are more shepherds around, and there is one common pasture in the middle. I get an idea of getting a cow. I get that cow and send it to that common pasture every day to graze. Now, you notice this and say, oh, Alhana is making a lot of money. Why don't I get a cow and send it to that common pasture? I get the cow, I milk it, I make cheese out of the milk, I make butter out of the milk, and I sell all of it, and you do the exact same thing as me. And more shepherds start to see this and get cows to that common pasture, and they can't think anything beyond their self-interest. One day, all the cows come back, looking in your face, because they're hungry, because there's nothing left on that common pasture. As no one owned it, no one took care of it. Because no one owned it, because no one took care of it, no one thought about what's going to happen to it. And a tragedy had occurred on that common pasture. Today's some of the modern commons are water, oceans, roads, and we all know that we are facing water crisis, polluted oceans, air pollution crisis, and traffic jams. A tragedy has occurred on those things, on those commons. I spoke about an 8-year-old's dream, my dad, my toy drums, and winning from a drum kit that was not mine, wars of future for water, tragedy of the commons, and the UN SDGs. All these ideas put together brought me to understanding something very unique and even a possible solution. During this journey of learning different skills and understanding new things, I got influenced by some great artists, documentary makers, world leaders, and international news anchors. Unknowingly, I also developed a keen interest in English accents. And this is funny because I've never been outside of Kashmir or India, but I can speak in a combination of British and American accents, which you might have noticed from the beginning of my talk. And what I realized was that I could be anyone, whoever I wanted to be. But I also realized something very important, which was that becoming someone is not that important. Important is what you do with your skill. And this is a few of my art pieces. I also started making paper bags, eco-friendly paper bags, and started selling them to shopkeepers. And this is one of my paintings which got media coverage, and the name of this painting is One Drop of Water. And my inspiration comes from the global issues of today, what I have witnessed, like water crisis, global warming. And I also started making documentaries on my YouTube channel on global issues. I believe that there are enough unfulfilled dreams in the world, and there are enough dreamers in the world. My dream of becoming a drummer was fulfilled by my father, who I feel might have had a dream of becoming a drummer himself. He donated his unfulfilled dream to me, and I fulfilled it. One dream was fulfilled where neither my father nor me were more than just carriers of a common dream, and that is me on my father's shoulders. And this becomes interesting as to when I became a drummer, I inspired more girls and gave wings to that dream through me. And maybe those who got inspired by my drumming would never get a drum kit in their home, and a dream would die before it even discovered its wings. I dream of building a platform where unfulfilled dreams can meet the right dreamers. And the good news is that any one of you can donate your unfulfilled dream to someone who can fulfill it for you. And this act can easily move outside of a family structure, where strangers can come forward and start donating their dreams to someone who can fulfill it. And see them being fulfilled by other strangers. It took me a while and a lot of hard times to figure out my purpose. I'm so happy with my life. I just want to help make other children happy and make their dreams and wishes come true. More and more dreams will be fulfilled. More and more people will be happy. And this, I believe, will remain the purpose of my life and my small contribution of making this world a better place. Because happiness, hope, and peace cannot always be the ideas of the future and cannot be postponed indefinitely. And this is me donating a few music instruments and plants to dreamers in my community. And yes, dreamers have to sleep too. And I sleep a lot. Thousands of candles can be lit from one single candle, and that candle never dies. Donate your unfulfilled dream to someone who can fulfill it. Maybe he or she might be just waiting for you. Happy donating and thank you.